reason they're not comfortable with it right now is they've watched the cowboy era of crypto, but all the crypto cowboys are in jail or out of business. So now we're in a new phase. There's a new tone at the government. Trump has put it forward. They're going to provide regulations to allow this to become integrated with the financial institutions of America. It's going to become a payment system, an investment vehicle. It's going to become part of all of the sectors of our economy. We have 11 sectors. Eventually, I believe crypto will be the 12th.
Well, Thomas, I just want to ask you, we're here in your bar. I think for a lot of people, having a tangible asset, like being able to buy a drink with Bitcoin, makes it feel a little better to them for some reason. Have you gotten that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started this project back in 2021, so it was COVID days. A great Bitcoin community fractured, right? They went to Austin, Nashville, Miami. So this was really a community project. We wanted something that Bitcoiners would be proud of and show off to their friends and family that this was actually like a thing that's happening in their lives. But we also wanted to make a space for newcomers to come into PubKey. Maybe they see somebody paying in Bitcoin, they ask the first question. We host a lot of free and open to the public Bitcoin programming. It's a mix of like entertainment and education in the back. They poke their head in, they ask the first question. That's so much better than some Bitcoiner, telling them that they should be interested in this thing.
How much did it mean to have President Trump come here during the campaign?
It was amazing. It was surreal. We're very grateful that he, stopped by, met the community. He spent way more time here than he was supposed to, which we loved.
Very
right?
familiar with President Trump, yeah.
It was surreal and very stressful, but it was awesome.
For those people out there that are still a little mystified, what's your message to them?
Start small. Buy a third of a Bitcoin. Treat it as an investment long term. It's a new asset form. Think about it as digital gold. That's the way I look at it. The great thing about digital is that you can put it on your phone. You can actually see it every day, watch the price go up and down. And so at the end of the day, it's learning in small increments and not risking too much and getting to understand the technology. But the big news is that this will be the first administration that's going to say, this sector belongs in America. The development should be here. The technology should be mastered here. We should lead the world in it. Other administrations didn't do that. And I think we should celebrate it because I think we shouldn't fall behind on this. But Bitcoin is the granddaddy, as you know. Everybody knows and have heard of Bitcoin. So start there, put $100 in. Enjoy, watch.
I think you're exactly right. Starting small is important. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. I think that's also true with everything. I would say that about equities as well, right? You don't want all your eggs in one basket all the time. The volatility is striking, right? Everybody goes through a moment when you have that big retrace, you get a little bit sick, and then the next time you're just a little nauseous. You start to find your sea legs after a while.
Great analogy.
Yeah. And that happens, but when we first opened, FTX had just collapsed. Our first customers were crying in their beers, but they came back, right? They're throwing high fives now. So it's the resiliency of the community, and it's easier to get through these things with friends. So, coming into PubKey during the bad times, got to come back and throw high fives when it's back at the bull market.
And when you're talking about this administration and their not just acknowledgement of cryptocurrency, but embrace of cryptocurrency, that is such a big deal because, to your point, we didn't have that in the last administration. Did you feel that, Thomas? Did you feel like you were this was something that was not at all championed by the Biden administration?
It was atrocious. For 4 years, It was a very aggressive administration. I think the biggest win was just moving on from that and not, getting stuck with another 4 or 8 years of that. It was very, very punitive. And there was no conversation, right? It wasn't something that you could go and talk about with the administration. It's a massive sea change for the industry.
Well, Kevin, let me ask you this. You say start small, but is it safe? A lot of people aren't sure. When I send my money, if I use my money and I put it in crypto, where does it go and is it safe?
That's a great question. And if you try and do this on your own in a decentralized wallet, as they're called, someone will hack you most likely because you don't know what you're doing. To make it safe, go to an accredited exchange like Coinbase, something that is regulated, but also that you can see every day on your phone, that has millions of accounts, so it's got real structure. Okay. I'm telling you right now, Laura, money center banks do not like this because they're not going to be able to charge big fees on transactions around the world with currency, for example. It's $1 trillion market. When the American dollar gets digitized, it'll become the de facto payment system worldwide at a fraction of the cost.
Wow.
That's why there's so much excitement.
Some people would say crypto is just a fad, a passing trend.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Look, Bitcoin's here to stay. Bitcoin has never been hacked. You have custodians sometimes get compromised, right? Other technologies in crypto are experimental. You know, you could argue if there's innovation there or not. Individuals, companies, they can be compromised for sure, but the technology itself is here to stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, Laura, there's one other thing about Bitcoin. It's cool.
Yeah, it is
You know,
cool.
It's just cool. It is. My kids, you know, they actually gave it to each other, you know, at Christmas once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
They delivered a couple of Bitcoin to each other. I mean, and they still own it.